Hey there, welcome to Introduction to Yin Yoga. Today we'll be getting into a different form of yoga that you may be new to, called Yin. Yin as in yin and yang. You may hear that as yin yang. But yin, it being the opposite of yang. Yang is more strong, right? Is more, when we talk about yang yoga, we're talking about the traditional yoga where we're working the muscles, right? And there's relaxation, yes, but it's primarily very muscular. Well, in yin yoga, it's more about yielding and allowing, right? So it is the softer side of yoga. And while it can be very relaxing, and it is also a different form of exercise. So instead of doing the muscles and working the muscles, we're exercising the connective tissue. So we're going to do long held static poses. We're only going to do 5 poses in this practice. And while we're doing that, we're going to be lengthening the connective tissue. So it really aids in mobility. And that's why we call it the second half of your yoga practice. So for this class, you might need some blankets or towels, maybe a block, just as a way to support the body as we move through the poses. We're going to be in each pose for a while, so you may need some help with that to make it comfortable. So have those handy. We'll begin with just a simple meditation, so as we arrive on the mat. So if you have a cushion or a towel, go ahead and fold that up. Maybe make it a little bit lower in the front than it is in the back, so that you can sit there and tilt the pelvis forward. And that just helps us have a long spine. Legs can be in simple cross-legged, half lotus, your choice. Get comfortable. Relax the backs of the hands to the knees and close the eyes. And begin to deepen the breath. Now, you don't have to force the breath to be the deepest. Just let it get a little bit longer on the inhales and the exhales. And we're just arriving on the mat. And all you're doing is a simple observation. Just observing the breath going in and out. Let the muscles relax as the crown of the head reaches away from the sit bones. But you don't have to engage any muscles. And you don't have to worry about relaxing. Just allow that to happen as you breathe. Yin Yoga is all about allowing. So all you have to do in each posture is just be. And I'll talk you through it. A few more breaths here. slowly open the eyes. You remove the cushion if you're sitting on one. And go ahead, and the first pose we're going to do is a Baddha Konasana, or butterfly pose. So bottoms of the feet together, knees out to the side. And let it be a long-legged butterfly, so let the heels be a good distance from the hips. Grab that cushion. You may not need this, but it may help tilt the pelvis forward. If you sit on that, again, make the back higher than the front, and that'll help tilt the pelvis. And we're just going to fold into this, but we're not going to force. We're just going to lean forward. Maybe the hands are behind. And just breathe into the hips. Letting the weight of the knees open the hips. And here's where you may need some padding. So if this is too uncomfortable, you may want to put something underneath one or both of the knees. Just so you can feel a sensation in the hips, but it's not painful. Now with each breath, the body will let you in a little more, so you can start to lean forward. And we'll be here for a few minutes. So you want it to be comfortable, but slightly challenging. You want to find your edge. And the edge in Yin Yoga is a place where you feel a sensation, and it can be quite strong, right? It's most likely in your hips, maybe the underside of the thighs, but it's not painful at all, no pinching. And when you find that edge, just hang out there and breathe. And then you may find after a minute or two, your edge moves. So you can move into your new edge and then hang out there. But the first principle of Yin Yoga is stillness. Find the pose, find your edge, and then become still. Only moving if you need to move to a new edge or back up out of it because you feel pinching or burning. We don't want anything like that. Deep, long breaths. Let each breath open the hips a little more. Pelvis is tilted forward, so we're not rounding the back like this. All right. A long, flat back. Chest is reaching forward. A few more breaths here. And then on your next inhale, start to walk the hands back up. Grab a hold of the outside of the knees and draw the knees in together. Maybe come off of the cushion. Lean back in the hands and then just windshield wipe the knees back and forth to counter pose that butterfly. Now you may feel some strong sensations when you're doing this, right? Coming out of a Yin Yoga pose can come with significant sensations, right? So work them out. Move around. You may want to stay longer on one side, maybe even use one foot to hold that knee down, just counter stretching the area that we just worked in that pose. And bring it to the other side. And then we'll come into our next pose. So sit up, bring the hands forward, and we're going to come down onto our bellies. So lower down, keep those cushions handy because you may need them again. And we're coming into a Sphinx pose. So let the tops of the feet come to the ground. Put your elbows round about under your shoulders. Gentle back bend. Now this may actually be too much on your back, and if it is, you feel any pinching, lower down. You may just want to lie prone, maybe stacking the palms and resting the forehead. And this may be enough of a back bend for you. Okay. Maybe that's not enough, and somewhere in between is where you need to be. So you may want to take a cushion and stack the palms on that. Right? Coming up a little higher. If you're on your elbows, let the chest gently pull through the shoulders as you look forward. And you're just looking for a nice, healthy compression in the lower back, but no pain, no pinching. There's a sensation there, but it's not painful. You can gently press the hips into the floor. Now, in so many yoga classes, we talk about don't compress the back. And so you may be wondering, why are you telling me to do it now? All right, good question. And in Yin Yoga, when we hold a pose for a long time, it's a static, long-held pose. It's a healthy compression. Again, not painful, but it's a healthy compression. Right? It's a different form of exercise. So compressing the tissues, the connective tissue, can actually help it grow and become healthier. It's when we are in motion and compressing, right, in an uncontrolled way, that we can wear down a joint. So your edge here should be some sensation. Breathe into that. Now, if this isn't enough, you may have a bendier back, in which case you can put a cushion under your elbows, and that'll bring you up higher. You may also choose to place your hands around about the corners of the mat and straighten the arms if you need a little more. You can also play around with bending the legs. But only move to a new edge if yours has subsided, meaning you're not feeling much anymore. Just a few more breaths here. Now, if you're up on your elbows or cushion, remove the cushion, stack the palms, and rest the forehead. Come down slow, slow, slow. Maybe shift the hips from side to side, releasing the lower back. Just breathe here. Now we're going to plant the hands under the shoulders, come up onto the knees, so you're on all fours. And to counterpose this, we're just going to demobilize the spine a little bit. So not your deepest cat-cow, but just start to undulate the spine by rounding the back and then arching. Not deeply, just mobilizing. Little baby cat, baby cow. Maybe rolling around to the side.
right? Just like before, we may have some strong sensations coming out of that pose, so we want to work that out. And over time, what you'll be doing is building mobility. And that's what we need to age well. So no matter how old you are, how young you are, prioritize that, because at some point that's going to be everything. Now walk the knees through so you can come back into a seated position and extend the legs out in front. Now very similar to what we did in butterfly, we're going to do here in a forward fold. So get up on your cushion, lower in the front than it is in the back, so that you tilt the pelvis forward. Bend into the knees and start to tilt forward. You can place the hands behind you. Your toes are up toward the sky. The heels are planted into the ground. And just start to lean forward, keeping the lower back long so we're not rounding. And when you feel your edge move, you can start to walk the hands forward. And bend the knees as much as you need to. If you're still feeling sensations in the back, especially, bend the knees. I'm going to keep that lower back long. We're just leaning forward and breathing into the underside of the legs. Now your head is working toward your toes, not toward your shins, right? That's when we end up rounding, and that's not what we're looking for here. Keep shifting the hips back. And we'll be here for just another minute. Now begin to walk the hands back up. Come off your cushion and lie down onto the back. Now draw the knees into the chest and just give them a squeeze, maybe wrapping the arms around. You may also want to circle the knees in one direction and then the other. Just massaging the lower back. And then extend your legs out in front of you. Now we're coming into banana pose. So cross your right foot over your left. And here's where you're going to have to kind of move around to find the right version of this for you. But we're looking for a stretch in the outer right hip. Right? So you can begin to move the feet over to the left. Right? You should start to feel something there. And then move the top of the torso over toward the left. So you're in a bit of a banana shape. And you can bring the arms overhead. And we're just stretching into the outer right side of the body. So bend as much as you need to feel that. And you should feel a nice stretch in the outer hip and the side waist. Now, as for your arms, you can have them just draped overhead, or maybe you're grasping your left or your right elbow with your left hand, or maybe the right wrist with the left hand. Your choice. But if you feel any pinching or tingling in your arms, you can lower them down. Right? You can bring them down to your abdomen or your sides, and you'll still feel a stretch in the hip. Customize, choose your own adventure. A few more breaths here. And then come on out. Bring the legs sort of more into a Shavasana position and shake the legs. And we'll take that to the other side. So cross the left foot over the right and begin to bend over toward the right. Arms up or down. And you can pull your right foot over to the right, and that'll increase the stretch as well. So move around till you feel a nice edge, and then just hang out there, breathing into the side waist. Now the sensation can be different from one side to the other, so be sure to customize for that. For me, my left hip is always tighter than my right. If you feel any tweaking in the back, change the angle of your bend. A few more breaths. Now release, come on back to center, and place the bottoms of the feet on the floor. Walk the heels, or heel toe your feet out to the edges of the mat and knock your knees together. And we're just going to counterpose that a little bit. And you can walk the feet in toward each other, bring the bottoms of the feet together, knees out to the side, so you're in a Supta Baddha Konasana, or a reclined butterfly. So opening the hips. Now heel toe the feet back to about hip width, so the knees are up to the sky, and then draw the knees into the chest. Wrap your arms around them. Maybe bring your forehead up toward your knees. And then lower down. And our final pose today is Shavasana. So let the feet flop open about the width of the mat. Hands flop open. Snuggle the shoulders under. Rock the head side to side. Shavasana, corpse pose. Now, in today's short introduction to Yin Yoga, we did just a few poses. But hopefully you're feeling opening in your hips, your side waist, maybe a little freedom in the lower back. But over time, you'll notice an increase in mobility, healthy joints, and just a happy side effect of Yin Yoga can be a very deep sense of relaxation. So even though you're working those connective tissues, your deep breaths and remaining still can have a profound, relaxing effect on the body and the mind. So you can stay here as long as you like, absorbing this energy. And when you're ready, begin to place the bottoms of the feet on the floor one more time, hands to the upper thighs. Drawing the knees into the chest, give them a squeeze, and then roll on up to sit. Come back to sit on your cushion so the spine can be long. Find a comfortable seat. Backs of the hands to the knees, thumb and forefinger touch. Yin Yoga can be an acquired taste. So I hope you give it some time to get used to the pace and working different types of tissues in your body. But it really will complete your yoga practice. So thank you for joining me today. Namaste. And aloha.